Hello, everyone. Welcome to Heart Center Tarot. As always, my name is Marina, and I will be your guide for this portion of the journey. So, I thought that I would do a quick reading on the framework of a deal um, that was announced today between Donald Trump and the EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. And the reason that I say framework in quotation marks is because that's what it is. It's not a deal, it's the framework of a deal. It still has to be agreed on and blah, blah, blah. But, as always, we we know the way that Trump operates. No, it's a deal. It's a deal. Oh, I just noticed, you know what? Let me just put up my little sign that says this is for entertainment purposes only. All right. So apparently, the deal or the framework involves a 15% tariff on all EU goods. Now that's down from the 30% that Trump was talking about earlier. That everyone's going to pay 30%. Everyone, yeah. So that's not the case. Not the case at all. The framework with the UK, I think, was 10%. So now with the EU, it's 15%. Who knows when it's going to be when it finally comes time to actually put pen to paper. So I'm going to be using the Gilded Tarot Royale for this. And I think I'm also going to use the governance deck to, whoops, where are we? Of course, it's going to be the last one that I pick. Naturally. Sorry about that. You see the back of my head. So I'll use the governance deck as sort of getting a little more information on what may come out in this. My main question is this deal going to hold? Is it actually going to go through? Or is this just a lot of bluster and so on and so forth? I must admit that Ursula did a very good job of playing into Trump's weaknesses, which is, master negotiator. This was really hard fought, but he is a deal maker. Yeah. Up here in Canada, we call that blowing sunshine up someone's what. Okay. So, is this framework of a deal actually going to amount to anything? So, I hope you've had a nice weekend. I hope you're looking forward to the week ahead. I hope the weather is nice where you are. Rumor has it that apparently our weather is going to go from rain and cloud and all that we've had for the last 2 weeks plus. On Tuesday, it's supposed to be nice and back to seasonal. We'll see what happens on Tuesday. All right. Is this deal going to hold? Well, we've got the Lovers. So there is some things that they can work on together that, they can say, yeah, we have this in common. We can progress forward on these things. And that is crossed by the King of Cups. I really wish I could figure out who this King of Cups is. because he comes up quite often in the readings, and I just can't nail down exactly who it is. In this case, I'm going to I'm going to say that it's Trump. So the the deal that is in place, or what they have agreed to in the framework right now, is something that he can change his mind on at any time, right? Um, because the King of Cups is emotional. It can also be immature. I mean, typical action for someone like Trump. If he doesn't get exactly what he wants, well, then he can call off the whole thing and blah blah blah. So we'll see what happens. Um, in the in the past, we've got the seven of wands, him having to defend his position, him having um, to not only lay out the framework, but to explain himself on why it has to be the way that he wants it to be. I think that's a very uncomfortable position for him. He doesn't like to be questioned. He expects that, he's going to tell you what you're going to pay, and you're going to go, oh yes sir, of course, Mr. President, sir. Yeah, that's not the case. The current situation is the Fool. Yeah, it's new beginnings, taking new steps forward. Yes, we can agree with him for the time being while we work on things, kind of in the periphery of all that. But yeah, he believes that this is something that is going to work out in his favor, and he's going to get what he wants. Whether he does, that remains to be seen. The 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 overarching um, energy here is the Knight of Swords. The different countries in the EU are all going to have to kind of agree to these things, and some of them are looking at it in terms of what does it do for them, how does it benefit them, and what are they getting out of the deal, versus just what the US wants to get out of the deal. So I think there's going to be a lot of questions. There's going to be a lot of meetings and explanations, obviously. Um, but the other leaders are going to want to see basically what's in it for them, right? What's in it for them? Okay, in the past, we've got the Empress. Things worked quite well with the EU in the past, before Trump decided that it was going to be his way or the highway. Um, and a lot of the countries would like to get back to that relationship. I also don't think that they trust him. Um, there's a big difference between what he says and what he does. So, while they could rely on previous administrations to live up to what it was that they negotiated, they're not quite so sure. Okay, the final outcome is the Eight of Pentacles. It's a work in progress. They're going to need to continue to look at each one of the items, and so on. Um, so is it going to hold? Well, I'm not really getting a firm yes or no on this. So I'm hoping the governance deck is going to help out. The bottom of the deck is the Eight of Swords. And this is a situation, obviously, of the U.S. is making. And if they are going to be bound by some of the things that they don't realize they're going to be bound by, this could have a negative effect in terms of once they look at everything, or once the U.S. looks at everything and so on, it's not going to be to their liking. But we'll see. We'll see what they're going to have to do. Um, let me just take a look. Yeah, the Five of Wands. This going back to taking this framework back to the U.S. Is going to involve a lot of infighting, a lot of questioning on what it was that Trump agreed to. It's not going to be as easy as he thinks. The Ace of Swords, the truth about what the US is giving up is going to come out. It is going to be questioned. People are going to want to know, even people in the Republican Party. The Ace of Cups, it is going to be really emotional for a lot of particularly the senators who are going to have to go back to their constituents and explain why some of the items that are coming in from the EU all of a sudden are costing more. Right? The whole idea behind the tariffs is that, well, the country's going to pay the tariffs. The country initially pays the tariff, but it's the person who is selling that good, those goods, that determines the price. And something that cost them $5 to buy last month that now costs them $7.50, that means that they either eat the profit or they're going to need to increase the price to $8, $9, $10 in order to make the equivalent profit that they made in the past. So this is not going to, a lot of people are going to have a lot of questions. The Four of Swords, yeah, this is not going to be to a lot of people's liking. They're going to have a hard time trying to explain how this deal is going to end up costing them more money and why that's a good thing. The Three of Pentacles, people are going to start to negotiate sort of on their own, and they're not really going to go along with the deal kind of as it stands now. And like I said, it's a deal. It's concept of a framework, right? This is a concept of a deal. So until it's actually in writing and until it's actually signed, that's all it is. It's a framework. So let's go to the governance deck and see if it will give me a little more information on is this deal going to be accepted? Accepted. Let's start with the U.S. Is this going to be accepted by the U.S. negotiators the way that it is right now? Foreign threats, they're not going to like it because they're going to argue that it's not to U.S. benefit, that they're being taken advantage of. Where have you heard that phrase before? So no, they are not going to. The U.S. negotiators aren't going to like that. And providing intervention, I think that they're going to come through with some plans where certain things that are part of this framework, they're going to want that removed. They're not going to want to accept it kind of the way that it is, the way that Trump thinks that it is. Now, what about the EU? What are they thinking? The EU is in in a leadership battle in terms of are they going to go along with what Ursula von der Leyen has suggested, or are each member of the EU going to want to step up and have things kind of done their way? And shadow ruler, they realize that the EU realizes that even though Trump is the one talking about this framework, talking about this deal, talking about all these things, that he's not really the person that they should be negotiating with. That he is, he's basically a puppet leader for right now, entertainment purposes only. What am I doing? Tossing cards. Misuse of funds. They are going to be highlighting to not only their own people, but to the American people as well, that this tariff is not good for them, that it is going to increase the price of goods in the US. Say what you will about who initially pays that tariff. Ultimately, those funds have to come from somewhere. That has to be made up somewhere. And where is it going to be made of? Well, it's going to be made up on the shelves where the price of goods is going to increase. Judgmental scrutiny. I think that the EU is going to be very adept at being able to highlight and point out where the information that is being shared with the citizens of the U.S. falls short, where what they're being told isn't the whole truth, right? That things are being sugar-coated for them. And covert corruption. Yeah, the EU countries feel very much pressured, put upon, like this. They don't really want to negotiate so much with Trump because they can't trust him. They don't believe in the things that he's saying. So it's going to be up to the negotiators to try to make sense of this for everyone. I don't know that they're going to be able to do that. So will the deal hold? Well, for the time being, they can at least talk about it. Each side can, put their own spin on it and say how effective it was and how good it is and so on. But I think that the EU has, they're going to be able to highlight some of the information that is being misquoted, shall we say, that is being presented to American consumers in terms of what this is going to mean for them, right? And let's not forget, Trump has said, oh yeah, he's got deals with the UK, with Japan, with Indonesia, with Vietnam, with China. He's got deals all over the place. Remember, he was going to do 90 deals in 90 days? Not even close. And especially since some of these quote unquote deals that he is presenting as a fait accompli, it's not. These are frameworks. These are discussions. Nothing is the way that he claims it is. So is the EU going to be able to highlight some of the misinformation that is coming out? Yeah. crypto uncertainty. They don't know. They don't know exactly how they're going to be able to provide people with the information in terms of exactly how much money it's going to cost them. But they're certainly going to be able to highlight the fact that it is going to cost them more. It's certainly not going to stay the same, and it's certainly not going to cost them less. Reversing course, they are going to be able to highlight for a lot of Americans that this is not in your best interest, and you're going to have to look at things from a different perspective, and see how things go over the next few months. Are you paying less for things, or are you paying more for things? Why are you paying more for things? Okay, selfish agenda. Yes, it almost feels like they're going to be able to come out with information that they're going to be able to share with the American public in terms of, this isn't good for you. It's good for him. It's good for Trump. It's good for Trump brand, but it's not good for you. So, before you start hailing him as the hero who made this deal, let's find out what the deal is all about. Okay, they are going to be able to put the information forth that, yeah, this is a trade war. This is the person who is supposed to be looking after the interests of the country is willing to throw the country under the bus so that his own agenda is being fulfilled. And it's interesting that this framework was announced while he's at his golf course in Scotland. Apparently, he's there for 5 days. He's supposed to be meeting with Starmer on Monday, and then he's going to be at a third golf course at the ribbon cutting ceremony and so on and so forth. Anyone who has worked for a Trump golf course or a Trump property probably would tell you that, yeah, what happens there is, it's up for scrutiny. Let's put it that way. You get my meaning, right? Okay, all right. Again, shadow operation. This could also mean that part of the reason that he is in Scotland is on the pretext of, I'm opening up this third golf course. It could be that he is dealing in other information while he's there with some of his family members. I wonder who else is there at the golf course. Balancing priorities and good intentions. The EU is trying to keep the wheels in motion so that they can continue to kind of at least appear that they are working on this. They do want to get this resolved. They do have good intentions in terms of negotiating something, but they also need to balance priorities. It has to be something that is going to be to the benefit of the EU as well, not just to the benefit of the US. Okay, and that's kind of the way it sounds right now. Failed negotiation. All right, so is the deal going to hold? Probably not. Probably not. I think when it comes down to putting pen to paper and using the Sharpie to sign that agreement, I don't think that it is going to happen. at least not the way that Trump has presented it right now. So, yeah, controlled speech. All these, especially Ursula von der Leyen, Starmer, some of the other, what's her name from Italy, Moroni, they are all going to be very careful in what they're going to say next, publicly at least. But they will be discussing things among themselves so that ultimately they want to retain the authority over what it is that they're negotiating, and the products that they want to be able to import into the U.S. and so on. So, all right, I'm willing to go along with that. So it feels like they ultimately know, whatever Trump is selling at the moment as, this is the deal. We've got a deal. No, not even close. You have the framework of a deal, and ultimately, what could come up for a signature, what is actually going to be negotiated, is going to be far different than what he is selling right now. All right, so I will leave you with that. Thank you very much for listening to me and tuning in. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me, and it would certainly help the algorithm and get me out in front of more people. I'm very close to 8,000 and then on my way to 10,000 subscribers. So yes, by all means, please do that. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. If you're interested in becoming a member at Heart Center Tarot, you can do so by going to my website. Let me hold this up for you. It is marinasheartcentertarot.com. You can go on there. You can join membership. There's 3 different levels. Take a look at some of the courses that I have on offer. There are still some spots left for the Achieving Union course, which starts on August 1st. It is a 30-day self-directed course that involves you getting a short 5 to 10 minute video every morning or every afternoon, whatever the case may be, with some exercises to do that day. And the idea is that at the end of the 30 days, you will have achieved a much closer union with your higher self, with your with spirit, and so that you're going to be able to tell the difference between when you're being guided or when maybe ego is getting in the way. The reason that I set it up as being self-directed is I want you to benefit from the course. I want you to be able to fit it into your lifestyle, fit it into your day, rather than having you try to fit into mine. So when you receive the video, you can listen to it right away. You can wait until later on. You can do the exercises, kind of at your leisure. It's totally up to you. We do gather once a week, and that is to discuss progress, to answer any questions that may arise, and so on. And doing it in a group setting with the other participants in the course. Maybe someone asks a question that you're thinking about, you just don't know how to frame it. And that's probably one of the best ways to learn. So take a look at that. Take a look at booking a reading or purchasing a reading for someone else. It's probably the best gift that you will ever give them. So that having been said, again, don't forget, it's marinasheartcentertarot.com. Go ahead and check out the website. It's new and improved. I love the look of it. And in the meantime, as I say, once again, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and comments. I look forward to hearing what you have to say about this little reading. All right. Take care, everyone. And I'll see you later. Bye for now.